Since last week, the New York Mets have collapsed entirely. Acting GM, he's not the official GM yet. Zack Scott, I don't know why they don't have an official GM yet. By the way, like, come on,
Mets,
seriously,
Mets go Met.
My God, Zack Scott. So he goes on. He goes on to speak to the media, to the beat writers,
because these are all individuals and control their own bodies, and sometimes they're not as compliant as they should be. And that happens. I've seen that happen in the past. It's, again, going back to the individualized approach. I mean, you got to take ownership of your career and your health as well. So it's really an easy narrative to put it on performance staff or put it on hitting coaches, but it's not. That's oversimplified. This is a partnership, and those groups and the players, and everyone has to be, pulling in the same direction. I mean, and I'm not saying that to like vilify players. It's just part of what happens sometimes. It's part of what happens with us as regular non-athletes when we're trying to, actually take care of ourselves. We kind of lapse on certain days, and these guys are professionals, and they, for the most part, they are locked in on what they're supposed to do, but sometimes it doesn't take much for things to kind of, maybe you're not eating as well as you could. You've got to change some habits, or maybe you're not hydrating enough, even though everyone's on you to hydrate. At some point you got to take that responsibility. We're not just going to, stick a needle in someone to hydrate them all because they're not doing it themselves.
We're talking about hydration and lack of discipline. The acting GM is literally calling his team out on this stuff. Later that week, we went through a heat wave here in the East Coast. We were getting temperatures that felt like 110, 115. Marcus Stroman was on the mound, and he had some sort of an episode. He pitched a great game, and he had some sort of an episode. It resembled when he almost got into a fight with the guy from the Pirates.
I forget his name, but
like midway through, he stopped and he like bent over like he was going to throw up or something. And post game, he says to the media, essentially,
it was definitely hot out there for sure. I'm not someone who hydrates very well. So something I'm trying to learn to do better. As far as on game day, I'm great as far as on my 5-day. But when it comes, I get so nervous. It's hard for me to put anything in my system on game day. So it's always a battle. But yeah, man, it was definitely a good win from the team. I just feel like it's momentum that we can continue to carry on into the next game. And keep it moving.
It almost felt like he was taking a shot at Zack Scott for saying what he said. But I don't know. You could play it either way or not. Either way, it doesn't look good. Then you have Steve Cohen come out after the Mets stink up the joint, and he puts out a tweet that says, "It's hard to understand how professional hitters can be this unproductive. The best teams have a more disciplined approach. The slugging and OPS numbers don't lie." So he's putting this out on Twitter, George Steinbrenner style, if George Steinbrenner had Twitter. And they asked Luis Rojas, what is his opinion on what Steve Cohen says? And Rojas essentially has his team's back. He's saying like,
we're working really hard every day. We're trying to find our way to win some games. And, we have this game today against the Giants again, who's one of the best teams in baseball right now. And, we're working hard. And, his reference to our offense is one of the areas that we're working really hard to improve on. And every day we want to improve our approach. We share how our approach is intended to be. He hasn't been there the whole season consistently. So, getting on base, slugging some balls is something that we haven't done as much. But we're working on doing it, right? And we have guys that have done it in the past, and we feel that they can still do it right this season. So we're working really hard, and we're expecting the guys to come in today and have that going. So that's my reaction to it. Is this it's what's happening right now to us is one of the areas, like I said. So we're just working hard.
Throughout all this whole thing, you have Pete Alonso. Sounds like he's like in cloud 9 somewhere on a rainbow, smoking pot or something. Taking MDMA. Oh, guys, don't worry. We got this. We work really hard. This, and that. Meanwhile, the Mets are like, it's like a fire's going on in the background. It's like that meme where it's like that dog and he's like, everything is okay and everything is burning around him.
Yeah.
You know what meme I'm talking about?
Yeah. This is fine. This is fine meme.
Yeah, this is fine. People thought that there was no chance that the Mets weren't going to not make the postseason, that it was like 100% certainty that they were going to be a playoff team. I would be surprised if they finished the season with like way below 500. I'm going to say like 10 games below 500 by the end of the year. Like they're 71 and 91 game team.
I'm on Baseball Savant, and I'm just looking at their game logs. Do you remember what a barrel is?
Yeah, barrel is when it's a specific launch angle, specific exit velocity. It's like a range in launch angle. Basically, anybody who gets a barreled ball equates to like a 750 batting average. Like it's basically a hit every time.
Dude, Mets have a bunch of games with 0 barrels in a game. Sometimes 1, sometimes 2. You'll see a couple 3s. But the bottom line is that the Mets, they're historically hitting bad. And for what Steve Cohen said, Steve Cohen's starting to be kind of like a dick. So I don't want to give this guy all the credit, but in a way, it's almost like it's nice for us to get a peek into this stuff because he's the guy that's cutting the check. So if anybody can comment on the Mets, I don't think it's cool to throw your team under the bus like that. Yeah. But if anybody could comment on the Mets, it is Steve Cohen. But dude, like this can't help, right? Like I don't think this is gonna light a fire on the Mets. I don't think the Mets are the type of team to like what excuse did they need to rally before if it wasn't getting swept by the Pirates a couple months ago, getting beat by the Dodgers. Like what does this team need? I don't think the Steve Cohen comments are going to help, but I'm not a Mets fan. It's kind of funny to see. It's kind of funny to see these reactions to everything. Like teams kind of falling apart, losing to Grom.
I don't see how it's helpful. Like you could do this on the trading floor with whatever business you're doing with those guys who praise you because you make millions of dollars. You're working with men who are already millionaires and who have control. Like if they really wanted to, they could just be like, fuck it. Like Steve Cohen's going to be an asshole to me. I'm not going to prepare for today's game. And if I get hurt, whatever. And Steve Cohen's is guaranteed to pay them at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm not saying kiss their ass or anything like that. Like, I'm not for that either. But you want to rile your team up, maybe go in the clubhouse and eat into them in person. They'll respect you more for it. If you do it in public, you think that this is motivating? If anything, right now they're probably thinking like fuck Cohen, man. Like, who cares, bro? Like,
bro,
you know what
I mean? And he went to Twitter to do this. Like, so disgusting to just even like, you're right. If he had done this in person in the clubhouse, a la the major league style type of thing, exactly. I mean, maybe not that extreme.
They would have gotten a picture of him in a bikini and covered it up. And every time they won a game, they would have taken a piece out until they could see Steve Cohen in a bikini, like major leagues. Yep. Good connection there, man. Well done. Well done.
Like that? All right.
Love it. So yeah, the New York Mets, man, I'm trying not to say anything bad about the Mets, but it's just, the Wilpons are gone and still it's the same story. Like this is a worse collapse, I think, than the one with Willie Randolph in 2006, 2007, when he was talking about the champagne is going to be sweeter when we make it to the postseason, and they didn't make it to the postseason.